bellissima giornata sotto il cielo di Belmonte Calabro, a passeggio in riva al mare, dalla marina alla montagna, a godermi tutte le bellezze del mio caro paesello dove io sono nato. Paese del cuore mio tanto amato, io ti ringrazio immensamente, ma prima, il cuore mio ringrazia la mammina mia cara, che mi portò al mondo. Grazie donne, grazie padri, grazie mamma, mammina mia cara, tu che hai sofferto.
All right, guys. Good evening and happy July 4th holiday here in the United States. Figure I would try this doing it tonight versus tomorrow night. I'm sure many people will have plans for the 4th of July with cookouts, family events, fireworks, blowing up tree trunks, cars, or whatever people do around the holidays here in the United States. So I thought I would skip tomorrow night and try tonight and see if anybody else is out there and wants to say hello for this Total OS Hangout for the pre-4th holiday. Well, for me, it was celebration. I went to my neighbor's house. I sat in the hot tub for about 40 minutes. It felt great. Yeah, he has a nice, big, fat, juicy Linux Mint hot tub, okay, that's just a joke, but anyway. Hope all of you are enjoying this holiday weekend. I'm doing okay. So we'll talk, this is pretty much going to be just a hangout tonight. We'll talk a little bit about Linux and whatever else is on your mind. I'll stick around for a little bit. Hopefully somebody else out there doesn't have any late night plans like me and just at home and wants to stop in the chat and say hello. I do these live shows at random. I enjoy doing them, but I don't know. Maybe I should just discontinue these and just maybe stick to a one live event a month schedule on a Friday night or something like that, like we used to do pre-pandemic. So let me know what you guys think. If anybody would like to sponsor a live event so I can schedule something, that would be great. Let me know. You just heard a new song from my dad, and it's from the new movie called The Value of Life. My dad is 2 for 2, pre-pandemic and post-pandemic with these independent productions there in Italy, beautiful southern Italy. Those of you watching this podcast, there's a screenshot there of the beautiful ocean and, yeah, city there on the mountaintop, just absolutely stunning. Clear air, no pollution. If you ever get a chance to go there, you should. It's quite a sight. It really is beautiful out there. All right, it doesn't look like anybody's in the chat right now, so we'll let this stream go on a little bit and see if anybody else or someone drops in, and we'll go from there. So let's see, what did I do today? Oh, as far as Linux goes, you may know the controversy with Wayland and first we had Xorg, then we had Wayland, then Xlibre. Now we have something called Wayback. That might be a possible display driver server for the future for Linux. Is this too confusing for Windows users? I'm glad I started off with Linux back in 06 and not now, because it's damn confusing. At least I think so. So, X11 is definitely outdated, but it works. Wayland is not as old, but it's outdated. It doesn't always work. Xlibre is brand new, so we don't know about that, but at least it's new. And then there's something newer or something just as new called Wayback display server. That's still experimental. So you would think the community or the Linux power brokers would rally behind something that's fairly newer like Ex Libre, that maybe one day may stop all the controversy with Wayland, because Wayland just doesn't work the way it should. But as always, the inherent stupidity of humanity gets in the way. Never underestimate the power of stupidity, as I always say. And of course, now there's a controversy. Politics gets involved. And in the next Ubuntu, you'll have a choice of Wayland or go screw yourself, basically. And that's what it's going to be all about. And it shouldn't be that way. This is Linux. This is Linux supposed to be all-inclusive philosophy, loving, lovey-dovey, with sugar on top. Thank goodness for Windows, right? Is Linux still too confusing? It shouldn't be. It was, it wasn't, and now it is again. The only Linux that I can recommend for Windows users without all the drama is a Chromebook. I hate to say that, but it's yeah. Anyway, I forgot to grab some wine today. Darn it. That's okay. All right, let me see who's in the chat. Maybe somebody else agrees with me. Cody is in. I'm doing fine. So Cody says 2016, 2018 to me was the best Linux. Now I'm tired of Linux, mainly the community, and I'm on Windows 11. I don't blame you. You started using Linux in 2012. Well, I still have. I'm keeping the faith in Linux in general, even though humans still are inherently stupid, as well as proven today in today's United States Congress. But I won't go there. I'll just leave it the way it is. Yeah, full of drama. You look at some news about Linux, and it's nothing drama, and Windows sucks. Well, there's no drama in Windows. No drama about display servers, which is going to work, or what will work, or what breaks, or what accessibility features don't work, what freezes up. You don't see that in Windows, do you? There's different politics in Windows. But can you imagine if Microsoft decided in the next release they're going to use a display server that's almost 20 years old and say that's the future? You know, Tony, man, you're popping too much freaking loads, man. These drugs, they get in your system and they fry your freaking brains, man. Did you see what I'm saying, man? Yeah. You know, over the course of the years, Cody, and you know this, I've tried to make Linux. I've tried to make this and make the transition for Windows users to Linux. I've tried to make it not just informative and not just about flat out, technology, but try to make it fun and entertaining at the same time, And I don't think of all the Linux YouTubers out there, I think I am the only one doing that. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think I am the only YouTuber that tries to make technology, Linux, try to make it fun, and not just about terminal commands. Because if it isn't fun, if you don't enjoy it, like anything else, then what's the point? Right? I think so. So as far as the Total OS community, I think we have a great community here. And I'm grateful for that. And over the years, I've been telling it like it is. And like it isn't exactly what other Linux tubers may think, but I'm only interested in the real world facts, not about Linux is the best or Windows is the best or Linux sucks and Windows sucks. Well, it's whatever works for you is the best. Period. What's simple is the best. What just works is the best. Not having to use the terminal is the best. And right now, Wayland is not the future. And it's damn confusing. Anyway, that's my thought about this. And apparently what I do is it's I think it's appreciated by you guys, but apparently it's not as popular or as profitable as the straight Linux channels always saying Windows sucks, Linux is the best, because apparently that's what the people want to hear. But I can't do that because that would be lying. So it's been a challenge. Post-pandemic. Pre-pandemic wasn't bad. You know, the AdSense revenue paid the bills. Post-pandemic, it's not paying the bills. So I've had to put in the money myself to keep this thing going. And it's not as fun as it used to be. I'll be quite honest. Yeah. Anyway, Cody says there's hardly any Linux channels in formal or none, rage bait or fear mongering. Yeah, rage of the Windows, closed source, and all that. Yeah, it's just, man, is it so hard to tell the truth anymore? I guess it is. I don't know, but I'm still here for now. But yeah, Cody, I have been thinking about just maybe going back to Windows full time. I never thought I would say that, but there would be less drama, I think, if I went to Windows full time. Less headaches. I think if I went to Windows full time, I think that would make the channel self-sustaining in terms of AdSense, and it would be easier. But I don't think I would have as much fun. Yeah, I kind of have to balance it out. Anyway, that's my personal thoughts about Linux confusing and too much baloney on YouTube about Linux versus Windows. It's hard to believe, right? You know, the Linux powers to be are pushing almost 20-year-old technology as the display server of the future for Linux. 20 stinking years old almost. Drugs are a terrible thing, man. Anyway, yeah. I may have to grab me a bottle of water, but I tell you what, Cody, stick around. Let me take a real short break here. I'm going to grab me a bottle of cold water. I was in the hot tub early and I dehydrated, even though it felt good. I'll be right back. Don't go away.
Triste questa vita, quando penso nel passato, la mammina che diceva: attenzione figlio caro, attenzione dove vai, attenzione con chi vai, non ti fidare mai.
All right. I just had to grab a bottle of water, and OBS was giving me some pop-up errors, so I don't know if it's OBS, Ubuntu, Wayland, or a combination. You know, I just don't see this nonsense in Windows. But anyway, yeah. Oh, Cody, you're at work. Okay, well, don't get in trouble listening to this. If there is anybody else watching and wants to say hello, as I always say, please do. You don't have to give your real name. If you have a question, ask it. Yeah. So you're back on Windows 11 and loving it. Hey, it just works, right? Yeah. When I posted that video this morning about the way back display server being experimental, I cracked the joke saying, next week the new X-ibuprofen is coming out, X-aspirin. Somebody responded, personally, I'm waiting for the X-cannabis to come out next week. Good one. Windows Server? Okay. When I was at my friend's house, as soon as I get out of the hot tub, of course, their female dog starts to lick me. He says, "Hey, Carm, you want a drink?" But of course, you gonna ask an Italian if I want a drink? He had he has all kinds of booze at his house. He's retired. He retired during COVID. Oh, hi, Tim. He says Windows is nonsense. Well, it seems like even Linux is nonsense right now. Anyway, how are you, Tim? I was actually looking at new computers today. I think I just paid off my final surgical bill. This is bill number 3, even with insurance. So I think I'm going to wait another month, make sure I don't get any more surprises in billing. But I think I'm done. So I'm looking at a Ryzen 7 PC. For about, I think it was $499.99 with Windows pre-installed, 1 terabyte NVMe drive, hard drive, storage drive. I don't think it's too bad of a deal, so I might take a look at that, barring any more surprise bills. I should just send all my medical bills to Congress. I mean, we pay their health insurance, right? They can have socialized, subsidized insurance, but us? Oh, no. Anyway. So what's new, Tim? Yes, I know how you feel about Windows. Tim, I would have to agree, but Linux is just shooting itself in the foot lately with this controversy with Wayland, X11, X Libre. It doesn't make sense, you know. Linux should be on the forefront of technology and simplicity, but they've taken multiple steps backward lately with this X Libre versus Wayland display driver. It's like, what is going on? It's kind of sad, really. But hey, we all love each other here, so that's all that matters. Anyway. So Tim, do you have plans for the 4th? I do not actually, no. I'm going to spend some time with my son tomorrow and his mom. I go out to eat somewhere, and tomorrow night I think I'm just going to relax and avoid all the boom, boom, booms. I stopped over the local Office Max computer. Well, it's not really a computer store. We have no computer stores here, but that's the closest one. And the manager there is a friend of mine. They had 1 Chromebook for sale. The rest was Windows machines. He actually uses Linux though. Yeah, he mentioned Ubuntu and Linux Mint, and we were talking computers. He didn't have. I take that back. He had one Ryzen 7 there. It was an HP. I think it was like 580 or something like that. I didn't buy it, but anyway, we just chatted a bit. So Rossi Spiller's in the house. Good evening, sir. How are you? Let's see. Rossi says, "Hey, Carmine and gang, do you think all are just being a bit too hard on Linux? There's always the vanilla Debian or Arch. Create your own." Yes and no. This channel was and will be created for 1 billion Windows users, and whatever percentage are thinking to trying Linux. So I have to keep it simple. Okay, and I can't recommend Arch or vanilla Debian to a Windows user, because the number one complaint I get from Windows users, they do not want to use the terminal, period. Or they don't want to be forced to use the terminal, meaning they don't want drama. And I don't blame them. I don't blame them. You know, Arch is great. I've dabbled with it, and Arch, you can make it your own. Absolutely. And plain Debian, customize it, make it your own. But Windows users who are new, they don't want to use terminal commands. And that's why Chromebooks sell. There's no such thing as it. Well, there is such thing as the terminal, the Chromebook, but there is no such thing as using it. You don't have to. But that's not the bigger problem. The bigger problem is the X11 versus Wayland versus X Libre. Both X11 and Wayland are old. Now, X11 still works perfectly. Wayland does not. And it appears that the Linux powers in command want to pick Wayland versus something newer for the future versus, say, X Libre. Wayland is almost 20 years old. That's the future? On that part, I don't think I'm being too hard, Rossi. Yeah, but and I don't think I'm alone in this. But that's my personal thought. I still like using Linux. There's no question. But I think we can do better. Yeah. Tim says staying home. Okay. Yeah, I think I will tomorrow night. I got a long day Saturday, so Linux teaches you how to run a computer. Yeah, it definitely gets into the nitty-gritty if you want to. But I think for a brand new Linux user, just do not mention the terminal for a while. But I will say this: if I am being forced to use Wayland display driver versus X11 or X Libre, I will be using Windows more. Yeah, I just like anybody else, I want things to work. I don't appreciate nonsense. Yeah, I just don't appreciate being lied to. I guess is the best way that I can say it. Yeah, Rossi says, who's responsible for creating an updated Wayland? That's a good question. I guess Red Hat is getting involved, some developers associated with them, I think. A group of, yeah, guys, girls. The new kid on the block is something called X Libre, which I believe attempts to address all the problems of Wayland, and actually upgrading X11, which works fine. It's just getting old. And apparently the Wayland team wants to push out the X Libre team. Now, when I say push out, I mean destroy, dismantle, get lost. Yeah, it's but why? I thought Linux was supposed to be all inclusive. A lot of politics. I don't care for it, and I just stick with the technical facts. And to me, picking again an almost 20-year-old display server as the future of Linux is ridiculous. but you know, maybe it is just me. I don't know. But that's what's going on this year lately. I think of all the videos I have seen, I think Brian Lunduk has done a very good job trying to explain it, and he thinks it's a bunch, it's a bunch of hooey nonsense too. Yeah, I mean, I want to have fun using Linux. I don't want to talk about drama. Let's leave that for Windows. But lately, the heads have been switched. Windows has much less drama than the Linux right now, and I don't know. Yeah. Good one, Tim. Rossi got a great name for Carmine's Carlo Rossi Fund. That's a good one. Yeah, yeah. Let's just talk wine tonight. Real wine, not the Linux wine. Um, it made me laugh, Tim. That's a go. And thank you, by the way, for all your support here over the years. It's much appreciated. It is a great day, Rossi. That's probably my favorite wine when I go to Kroger's. I buy the gallon jug usually of Carlo Rossi wine. That is true. Uh, Maybe you don't understand the deficiencies of Wayland because you have no complaints. I think that's great, but there are deficiencies when I use Wayland. The apps that I've used in the past don't work. I get freeze ups. People who need accessibility features don't have it. It's a step backwards. Search Google Wayland breaks everything, and you'll see less compatibility with NVIDIA cards. Games run a tad slower. It's just not the future. I mean, it can't be. It's almost 20 years old. It's impossible. So, but take X11 and make that better, because it still works and there are no incompatibility issues. But one of the biggies, Ubuntu, they decided to drop X11 on the next Ubuntu, and they said flat out, we're only going with Wayland, and if you don't like it, tough shit, you can move on to something else. That's basically what they're saying. I hate to say that. And that is not the philosophy of Linux. I know it's not. So, you know, I love Chromebooks. No drama, probably the least drama of all the Linux systems out there is a Chromebook because they just work. You don't have to use the terminal. Quite affordable. You have more choices today. They just work. Never had a problem with the Chromebook. Never had to use the terminal. You can if you want to. You can use web apps, Android apps, Linux apps. It's not bad for what you pay for. And that's probably the most successful Linux-powered machine out there right now. I wish we had more, but that appears to be it. Ah, now we're talking wine. Vintage 38 wine, Mercante Visigili, Malvasia di Castelnuovo Don Bosco, Malvasia Vintage 38 favorite sweet Frizzante red made from a Malvasia grape in Castelnuovo Don Bosco, Italy. Well, is that the name of it? Vintage 38 wine? I'll have to check it out. Yes, I like red and sweet, sir. Yes, I do. Thank you for the tip. Now, see, this is what Linux is all about. Sweet red wine in Italia. Italia. Those of you who came in late, here's a screenshot I'm showing you. This is from my dad's latest film, Il valore della vita. The Value of Life. Great, appropriate title in today's world. This is beautiful southern Italy. Well, of course, they make their homemade wine. I just finished watching the movie tonight. And beautiful story. And this one is getting some awards at film festivals around the world. So hopefully a distributor will pick this one up. Appropriate story in today's world. I won't spoil it, but here's the screenshot. Beautiful scenery. There's the ocean there in the background. Just clear air. No pollution. No drama. Just God's creation. The earth and us. Yeah. And some wine, of course. Anyway. Yes, no drama, Tim. Exactly. The only drama I want is in a good movie. You know? A good movie, a good story. I did see the trailer for the next Naked Gun movie with Liam Neeson. Funny stuff. Funny stuff. I think that comes out. Is it next month? Oh, that looks good. That one I'll have to go see. Let me check my OBS stats here real quick. And we're a little bit in the red. So that might be because of Wayland. I'll have to check it later. I can't remember if I logged into Wayland or Zorg. Moscato? Isolabella della Croce Moscato. Man, you must be the expert on wine. Controllata e granita. Don't know that one. Tim says, "Hey, forget it. I'm going to grab a beer." Keep it simple, right? Love it. I drink beer occasionally, a little bit of a Bud Light, maybe a Corona, sometimes. Yeah, I know Ubuntu has worked pretty good for over the years, and that's great. All right. So Rossi says both should be sold at grocery store. Okay. I'll have to check for that tomorrow, Rossi. Thank you.
Oggi è una bellissima giornata sotto il cielo di Belmonte Calabro, a passeggio in riva al mare, dalla marina alla montagna, a godermi tutte le bellezze del mio
Yep, I do have MX Linux 10 on my older ThinkPad. I don't use it as much. It's 32-bit, but it's lightweight enough to run it. All right, so Rossi wants a Chromebook. However, for your taste, you want something with a 2K, 4K screen. Yeah, minus 4K works great. You're going to be looking for a Chromebook Plus, Rossi, if you want 4K, starting at about $399. 8 gig of RAM, something like that. So they're out there. Lots of choices. Mine has a touchscreen. I don't use the touchscreen that much, to be quite honest. It's one of those 2-in-1 convertible laptops. A lot more choices now for Chromebooks versus, say, 5 years ago. So should not be a problem. Look into like I think mine is a Lenovo. I think. Yeah, check out Lenovo or I can't think of the other one. But yeah, a lot more choices now. Just look for Chromebook Plus, and you should be okay for the next 10 years. So, and the price is fair.
come triste questa vita, quando penso nel passato, la mammina che diceva, attenzione figlio caro, attenzione dove vai, attenzione con chi vai, non ti fidare
I'm not familiar with Neverwhere, Tim. Yeah, my older computers are going to be the ThinkPads. Those are 32-bit. Not too many choices for those, even though they're in pretty good shape for the age. Yeah, the new Chromebook that you can OS for free is the Chromebook. I believe it's what, Flex, 64-bit only. I wish they had a 32-bit, but it's yeah, 64-bit only. It's fine. But it doesn't work on all machines, whereas a Chromebook with Chrome OS works out of the box. So, but Chrome OS Flex to try is okay. Yeah, Tim. So it's like putting a Chromebook on a machine, Neverwhere. Okay. But I think it's 64-bit, right? No 32-bit. And I guess some Linux distributions are going to drop 32-bit support altogether. I guess that has to happen sooner or later. All right, it is, what time is it? It is 12:19 a.m. So I'm going to wrap. I'm probably going to wrap this up here in about 10 minutes of 12:30, and then go to nighty night, as it were. So anything else on your guys' minds we can talk about tonight? If not, we'll wrap it up here shortly. And tomorrow I'll stop at Kroger's to look for that wine. Pick up some cheese ravioli, some other things, some Italian bread. So Ross, yeah, so you would say Linux Mint is still the best foolproof right now? I would have to say yes, because they do not use the GNOME desktop environment. Good for them. They have Mate, XFCE, and Cinnamon. That not being forced to use Wayland, you can stick with Xlab. I believe Cinnamon may have Wayland as a choice, and that's fine. But overall, right now, I would have to say Linux Mint has the least amount of drama right now. Yes. And Tim, you have a 67 Chevy? I love classic cars. They just don't build them like they used to, as the saying goes, right? One of my neighbors got not a Chevy, 2012 Toyota SUV, J something, two-door SUV, mint condition. Nice vehicle. Yeah, for Linux right now, stay away from the GNOME desktop environment for beginners. Stay away from anything that is forcing you to use the Wayland display driver because it's not complete yet. Don't know if it'll ever be after, yeah, all these years. Yeah, Linux Mint, Ubuntu Mate may be another good choice. Maybe a few more. Yeah, Tim says when cars were cars and just built to run and no nonsense. Photo Guy TN joined. Hey, just installed Linux Mint on a Surface 3 tablet. I don't own that kind of a tablet. I have a Chromebook that doubles as a tablet, but that's it. Well, hello, Math Cubes. Long time no speak. Yeah, it has been a while. Welcome. Has it been that long for you? Yeah, okay, maybe it has been that long, 10 years. I don't know. Linux Mint will also avoid using Wayland by default, so it's safe to use. Yes. Wayland might be good eventually, but don't use it. Yeah, I don't have any faith in Wayland. Like I said, it's been around almost 20 years, and if it's not ready by now, I mean, what, it'll be ready in the next 20 years? Linux can do better than that. So if I buy a new PC, a Ryzen 7, am I going to install Linux on it? I'm not so sure now with all this controversy. I may put it on an external drive and just do it that way. Yeah. Until we have a standard Linux display driver as we do in Chromebooks. All right, so Math Cubes, you love Linux. However, problem is the lack of commercial applications. No longer use it. You have Debian on a file server. Okay. All right, Johnny's in the house. Did you see the latest Wayland drama about primary monitors? It's going to be unusable by design in 2050. I did not see that. What is up with that? Yet some more drama for Wayland. Why not? Well, thank you, Tim. Tim is donating right now to the Carlo Rossi. Thank you so much. Yes, Tim has been a long time contributor to the channel. Donations help keep this going. I get the wine, Tim, and the rest I use to help pay the Comcast bill to keep this thing going. It's that simple. If you guys would like to contribute to keep these shows going, there's a link below in the show notes. And thank you. I do not do any corporate, no corporate sponsorships. All right. Ironically, Windows 10 end of life coincides with the International E-Waste Day. Yeah. I hear you. Wayland doesn't define primary monitors, Johnny says, which causes issues with games as they'll launch in full screen on the primary monitor, which on Wayland is complete arbitrary. Huh. Okay, well, I don't do that much in gaming anymore, but once again, how can almost 20-year-old technology be the future for Linux? The world has gone goofy. Yes, MathCube's Chrome OS is interesting. Rumors merging with Android, swapping the core to the Android. Well, that's Google. I'm sure Google can make it work. So we'll see. Devs arguing that defining primary monitor somehow takes control away from the users. Okay, well that I don't know, but I'll take your word for it. That they should bring over Chrome OS UI to Android. Yeah, Google has done a pretty good job with Chromebooks the last, well, post-pandemic with the new Chromebooks Plus. I mean, even if it's not a Chromebooks Plus, if it's a fairly new Chromebook, you will get at least 10 years of support. Not bad for a $300 machine. Guaranteed 10 years of security updates and features. That's what Linux is all about. It just works, a good deal, easy to use, no drama. Yeah, that's how I see it. I'll let you know, Tim. Yeah. Thank you. And they argue that games should all support monitor selection, which is completely insane given Linux and by extension Wayland is a very niche market and games target Windows. Yeah. Yeah, somebody from Wayland Dev says that the problem is the software, not Wayland. That's kind of like saying that the problem with the potholes on the roads is the driver, not the potholes. Boy. Yeah. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see if maybe Ex Libra can, pick up where Wayland has lost its way. I don't know. I mean, X11 still works for now, but it's outdated. Yeah. So your daily driver machine is Windows because it needs for work, but everything else runs Debian. All right, Johnny. And considering switching to free BSD. Oh, wow. There's probably is a lot less trauma with BSD right now. Yeah. Oh, MathCube says you wish Chrome OS can take more market share. It's getting there. It's getting there. Look, during the pandemic, Chromebooks outsold Macs. That's not bad for a Linux machine, all things considered. So, yeah. Tim, hang on. Let me. Yes, Tim, I got your contribution. Thank you so much. Yeah, I do have it. So, um, Okay, math cues you love, Debian. Okay, that's fine. Linux in general has stability issues. BSD is like stable but doesn't have enough hardware support. Used to run Ubuntu, updating from 20 or to 2004 break the OS. Okay. I'll just say this. There are, I read somewhere, up to 1,000 different Linux distributions to choose from when you count all the forks. Maybe you can count on your hand 5 that are good, stable, no drama. That's it. And Linux Smith is one of them. Yeah, and part of the stability issues now has to be with being forced to use Wayland. Yeah. Yeah, the forums can be helpful, Johnny. Mini PCs, I don't know too much about those. I still prefer full-size PCs myself to work on them and to, add RAM or whatever. Ubuntu, in your experience, is always full of bugs, MathCube. I will say this, that the latest Ubuntu works for me after multiple tweaks and terminal commands, so it's not for beginners. But I am using Ubuntu tonight. It seems okay. Again, it's not for Windows users, but it seems okay after I tweak it. Anyway, yeah, thanks again, Tim. Thank you so much. I'll be celebrating the 4th with brand new sweet red wine. But Johnny says Linux is always fragile. Well, some of it is, yeah. Even if you have to know how something will stop working, you will have to fix it. Yeah, I think that's why Windows users stay away, because they don't want to be forced to use their terminal. In today, day and age, if you are forced to use the terminal, that's not for you. Now, it's one thing if you choose to use it to experiment, that's a different story. But you're right, with today's Linux, you should not be forced to use the terminal, and that is why Chromebooks do so well, because you never have to use the terminal. So, when you see YouTube videos and Linux is better than Windows, really? All of Linux, all 1,000 distributions is better than Linux? It's ridiculous. Yeah, Tim. Yeah, I know you've said you've known me since 2014. Yeah, I started the channel, was earlier than that even. I started doing the live shows, oh boy, with Spatry, 2015, I think, Tim. Then we had Ifily Galactic jump on, and then someone paid us a compliment. This is the Linux A team. I said, that sounds awesome. I love that. The Linux A team. Da, 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 da. Then Spatry kind of faded away. IG got married. But I may bring the Linux A team back. I don't know. Sometimes you have to use PowerShell on Windows to do something. I've never had to use the PowerShell on Windows ever. Maybe once or twice, but yeah. Yeah, MathCube's misses the Linux distro community. So do I. Those were fun times with Spatry and the weekly shows and the jokes and pre-pandemic times. Definitely miss all that. Less drama. Now it's all drama. A lot of misinformation. Much, much more misinformation on YouTube and just flat out bullshit. I hate to say it. About Linux on YouTube, and it's just more confusing in my opinion. Yeah, it's Windows 11 works. The technology works. The problem is the politics behind it sometimes with this Windows recall, which is dumb. But besides that, it works. Yeah. Yeah, Tim, you've been using Ubuntu since 14.04. Yeah, I've been using it since 2006. And different versions, variations of it. I miss the Unity desktop. But GNOME desktop environment with the tweaks, it's okay. I freaking hate those YouTubers that all they do is just hate on Linux. I install Linux and deleted files. Well, again, which Linux did they install? Did they install a rolling release, which is more subject to breakage, versus something stable like a Linux Mint or Zorin OS? So maybe what they are saying is partially true. But if they're going to hate Linux, perhaps more appropriate to say I hate some Linux. Maybe. Yeah, I miss Unity. Yeah, Tim, just keep everything simple. I agree. Keep it simple. You know, and yeah. You know, when you look at Linux Mint has been around since 2008, Zorin since 2010, right? They must be doing something right. Do you think the fact that Linux is fragmented enough that different distributions with seemingly similar selling points are night and day experience indicative of much larger problem? Yeah, the father of Linux, Linus Torvalds, said the problem with Linux has been fragmentation. And just not sticking to one thing, and that's why Chromebooks have been successful. They just stick with one system, variation of it, which is Gen 2 Linux, and they have been successful. I wish we had more like that, but it is the only global Linux standard, and they just work. So, yeah, still no X equivalent XC equivalent on Linux. Flatpak does not count. Flatpak's okay. Look, it's, you know, I only use Flatpaks and snaps and app images when I have to. They can be somewhat unpredictable. They don't always work, but hey, it's another choice, and that's fine. Yes, Flatpaks are incredibly bloated. That is true. I've installed a few, and to be fair, they work, but yeah, you need a big caddy trunk to fit all that. Yeah, I don't know too much about the BSD stuff. I think that's from California, as Arnold would say. I like BSD power from California. I think I tried BSD once. It wasn't for me. Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know. Maybe one of these days I'll try it again, but it's not for me. Yeah. Like I said, I'm curious to see if X Libre, which is trying to update X11 versus Wayland just throwing it to the side. I wonder if that can gain some traction. Or will the powers that be just destroy it? What could have been? And will we be forced to use Wayland when it's not for everyone? and it doesn't all work. I mean, this is not Linux, at least not how I was taught. Hi, Ben. Yeah, I have heard of OpenBSD, yes. But in this point in time this year, I got to think twice about recommending Linux to a newbie. Until we can get this Wayland Ex Libre display server drama straightened out, it's not good. Yeah. Yeah, Chrome OS is fine, and it should be, someone should use it. Keep in mind that Chrome OS does not have Android app support, and it's not compatible with all hardware. When it does work, it's fantastic. Super easy, fast, lightweight. It's free updates, yes. But I think a Windows user should try a Chromebook first to see what Linux can do for them, and then go from there. Yeah, Ghost BSD is another one. Yes. A fork, yes. It's yeah. Let's see. Here we have, who joined in? Evil Coleslaw. Yummy. Chrome OS is great until anything at all breaks. Nothing breaks in a Chromebook. For me, nothing has ever broken in a Chrome. Now, when I say Chrome OS, I'm talking the Chromebook that you buy, not the one you download and install. So can something break in a Chrome OS that you download? Sure, it's Linux. In a Chromebook, nah, not going to happen. If you buy a Chromebook and something breaks, you need to return that machine immediately because it's defective. But Chrome OS and a Chromebook do not break. Now, if you drop the machine, well, duh, but they will not break. Yeah, I do remember, Tim, when Joe built that machine for you 5 years ago. Yeah, that's awesome. Well, he knows his stuff. He knows more about computer put together than I do. I never got into it personally. Let's see. Again, the problem of Linux isn't its fault. The main problem is the lack of quality programs. Mac OS is usable, Windows, but well, maybe the programs is part of it. But the main problem is, again, lack of a unified standard, quality standard of Linux besides a Chromebook. That's been the problem. Johnny says you do work in 3D audio engineering. I would hang myself in the garage if I had to daily drive Linux. I get you. I understand. Yeah. I haven't used the Windows subsystem Linux. I heard it works. You disagree with fragmentation, MathCube? Oh, it's there. When the father of Linux says it, I would have to believe him. It's definitely there. And the fact that we have 1,000 different choices, that's your definition of fragmentation. I guess, yeah. That's why when I recommend that Linux is better, or when I say Linux is better, some very specific some Linux is better. Like, again, less than 0.5% or less than that is good for Windows users. Tim says, yep, all that was all because of Linux and the friends we have made. That is true. The problem is the lack of a commercial distro. Most use Debian or Ubuntu. Yeah, a lot of it is based off of that. True. The only commercial distribution that comes close is a Chromebook. Yes, OEMs like Dell install Ubuntu. You can buy them, yes, but they're over 1,000, and that's not for the Linux market. You might as well get an Apple machine. At least you won't have to worry about Wayland versus X Libre display driver. Again, there's no drama. Yes, Math Cubes, people get confused sometimes. Yes, most distros are very similar. They just have a different look. It's too much. But if we had a global unified Linux besides a Chromebook, and it doesn't matter what, I think the quality would be better, less issues. I think it would be better for users. But right now, all you have is a Chromebook, which is fine, but to me, it's not enough. Yeah, I would say Linux is an ecosystem. Yeah. Part of a larger technological ecosystem. Yeah. Look, for many people, Linux has saved a lot of machines from being dumped or donated, or so. I mean, it's definitely valuable. It's just we don't need the politics. It's got to stay out of it. Yeah, Tim says, just pick the distro that works for you. Completely agree. If Ubuntu works for you, go for it. If a Chromebook works for you, then that's the best one. Yeah, BSD distros, difference between typical GNU Linux and Android. Yeah. I think that came out of Berkeley, California. That's why that's the B, right? Yeah, I've gotten comfortable with Ubuntu and Debian based versus say something based on Arch or Gentoo. It's just easier for me over the years. They seem to be mostly reliable for me. So the B just it stands for that, Berkeley. Okay, thank you. So I don't know what the rest of this year is going to hold for Linux and the Wayland issue. I believe Ubuntu and Fedora are dropping X11. I think. Yes, I too prefer stability over anything else, Math Cubes. Because if it ain't stable, does anything else matter? Yes, Tim, Android uses the Linux kernel. Yes, it does. But yeah, stability has to be number one in anything. Because if it ain't stable, if it's always crashing, always breaking, does anything else matter? I think not. It's got to be stable. Just got to work. No drama. Yeah, I was disappointed when Ubuntu dropped Unity also. Yeah. I'll have to search YouTube for BSD installs and see how that goes. I just don't know too much about it. All right, it is it is almost 1 a.m. here. Again, when you're having fun, time flies, and I have been having fun. Thanks to all of you who came in later on. I was going to end this 12:30, but this is okay. This is great. Love it. Yeah, I'm actually off tomorrow. I'm going to sleep in the morning. And I did get a notice on my phone. Rain may be starting here. Oh well, but that's okay. So this was fun as always. Thank you for stopping by, Tim. Once again, thank you for the contribution. Always appreciated. And I'll pick up the wine tomorrow. So everybody else who joined in, great chatting with you guys. Yeah. If I'll catch you guys next time. I won't be doing anything tomorrow night. It's the 4th here in the States. People have plans, and I don't think they're going to be on their computers. Fireworks display and all that. I thought about doing it tomorrow night, but yeah, I think it'd be kind of pointless. So be safe. Have a good weekend. Watch out for the boomers out there, the thunder boomers, and yeah, I still have a scar from a long time, 4th of July from New York. I still have it on my leg, and not fun. Johnny, thank you. Yeah, he says, thank you for the stream. It was a nice random YouTube algorithm pull, and now down 40 minutes. Okay. All right. So, okay. Thank you, Johnny. Thank you, everyone else. You guys know how to reach me, and hey, have fun out there. Catch you on the next one. Ciao.